Hi guys, so I just wanted to do a very quick recording because a lot of the guides that are out there at the minute on YouTube aren't actually very accurate anymore for how this is set up. There's plenty of guides that show you exactly how you set up the spider, however quite a few are recommending that you use these two tiles here, and this doesn't really work as a safe spot anymore. So how you do this is you get runes to cast any kind of low level confuse or weaken spells, and you cast those on the spider here. They should be roaming around in this area, roughly. Cast it to it, and then walk down through where my mouse is to this position. Do not go tiles to the left, else you'll have to recast the spell, as the spider does drop aggro if you go across here. So keep it as it is, and you'll have no issues. If you're using any menu entry swapper, you can swap the left click option on your Volcanic Sulphur to be dropping instead of having to right click and then drop, which is significantly slower, and you want to try and save your wrists whilst you're doing this. The reason why I'm recording this is because a lot of the Lovakengj Favour guides, they tell you when you get above 40% favour, I believe it is, to go and craft the Lovakengj armour. And the problem with this is, if you're someone like me, where I do not have a 65 mining requirement, this is actually an extremely high-level method of getting your favour later on down the line. And the reality is that you're probably, if you're looking at these kinds of guides, not going to have the mining level required to go and get the Lovakite Ore, or Lovakite Ore. So, the best way to do it is actually to stick with the Volcanic Sulphur all the way up until you get to 75%. As you can see, I'm about 11.6% off. Please God, be done soon. And once you get to 75%, you can then go and get the minecart scrolls to then get the minecart of core ends unlocked between each of the individual spots. There's 5 of them in total, they give 5% each, and that's significantly better for you rather than having to go and grind out mining, which, let's face it, who the hell wants to do that? The other benefit to doing it this way as well is that actually, you can see here, the XP per hour actually isn't completely horrendous. I mean, for any other skill in the game, this is a really terrible XP per hour, but mining is notoriously painful, and it's not exactly the best way for you to be able to try and train it up, but given that you're probably going to have to do this to get your favour to 100%, if you're like me and you're trying to get out a quest cape, this is probably the best way for you to both simultaneously train mining and get your favour, rather than having to get 65 mining first, which I don't think anyone particularly wants to do. Also storing and getting the coal, if you're like me, as a by the way, anyone that doesn't get that, I mean, that's an Ironman. Getting the coal is also in itself going to take you several hours, and I don't particularly fancy doing that. So, my Volcanic Sulphur, I've been here since 30% favour, currently at, you say, 64%. It's taken me around an hour, just over an hour and 15 minutes to get from 30% up to 64. So it's not that horrifically slow given how bad this overall grind actually is. And this is a pretty essential requirement for you as part of the overall grind to get your 100% full core end in order to then do the Architectural Alliance, which you'll need if you're trying to then go for your quest cape, or even if you're just trying to unlock some of the benefits that you get from having the core end favors. The only additional things to note in this, just in case anyone's looking for a guide that tells you individual breakdowns, each sulfur that you mine has a 1 in 3 chance of giving you 0.1% favor, which is not very high, so the average is 0.037% per, but it's not horrifically slow either. If anyone's ever tried to do the Piscarillios favor early on with doing the repair of the cranes, you'll understand what slow truly is. It's not a very favorable method. So yeah, just wanted to do a very quick guide, something that would drop in and let people know how exactly that this works. You need to make sure that you are on the tiles that are listed, so the spider must be here and you must be standing here. Actually, there's one additional thing I do want to drop in this, which is when you're trying to lure this spider over, if you walk through it, for anyone that doesn't know game mechanics in OSRS, if someone walks through the NPC, it will then allow other NPCs, which these clouds of sulphur actually are, to walk through the spider. So if you accidentally screw this up and you walk over the spider, you'll need to walk around and then walk back down. This will then reset the spider to hold its position in terms of the tile that it's on, and this way the sulphur clouds will not walk back over you. So make sure the spider hasn't been walked over. If someone else runs through you, it sucks. You need to reset it every single time. It's why I keep a few food on me just in case. But for the most part, there's not a lot of people here. Most people just come here to get their favour and then they go away and never come back here because this is a terrible training spot. It's not a very enjoyable training spot either. But that's just in case if you are trying to do this and you've set up the lore but these clouds keep hitting you, you need to know that the spider must not have been walked over on the tile where it is currently standing. So again, if you lure it over this way and then run back, that should then be fine, because once the spider lands on this tile, nothing will have passed through it, so it will then hold its ground on the tile, and nothing will pass through it. So as you can see now, I'm extremely AFKing this, so I don't have to touch anything. I just literally click it once, pair inventory, drop everything, click it once again. Don't be afraid of the fact that you don't see the animation happening. You are mining constantly whilst the spider's attacking you. That's part of a feature of the actual mining of the volcanic sulphur, because these clouds damage you, and it doesn't actually interrupt the mining that you're doing, unlike on other things such as like if you're 3-tick teaking or 3-tick mining. This is the easiest way for you to just simply get the spider on you and then just click once until your inventory's full. Nothing's going to break that until it actually depletes. So hopefully this was helpful. I know this was quite a pain for me to try and find, so I'm hoping that by dropping this people are going to find a more useful version of doing this, because a lot of the other guides don't really clearly explain to you how exactly you're supposed to get up to that % favour, and if you're below 65 mining, you seem to just be shit out of luck. So hopefully this helped. Drop me a comment if it does. I'm probably going to do quite a few of these actually, because as I'm leveling up my Ironman, there's been quite a few other bits of advice which either the advice is dated now and I've had to figure it out, and luckily I've played this game for many years, so I know ways around that. But for new players, you may not have that baseline knowledge of the game in order to be able to get things like this set up. So yeah, drop me a comment if it's helpful, and thank you very much for watching.